All right. Happy Wisdom Wednesday. I am starting this off today in this super cozy, light filled energy that I'm in today. Feeling really, really connected to the earth today and to nature. I've got my plants all around me. I've got a little bit of lavender here. It smells amazing. I like to just take lavender as a really nice thing to do. Just sometimes around my house or when I was holding women's circles or just in a bath, just taking like a little grain of it and rubbing it between my fingers as a really nice kind of sensory stimulating activity, relaxing. A lavender is really relaxing smell. I've got that, and I've got a little bit of this roller ball, and it's got fennel in it. And I'm finding fennel to be a really grounding, but also uplifting scent right now. So some nice things that you can try. It is the winter solstice. Yesterday was officially the winter solstice, and today's the full moon in Cancer. Lots of people talking about this right now. And I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling really renewed and full of light and ready. I feel really ready for whatever is to come because I feel things bubbling up and I feel things coming. I don't know what that is, but it could just be the new year energy. It could just be, the portal that we're in that's winter solstice. So I hope you've all had a really blessed, restful last 24 hours during your solstice. I hope you're all finding yourself at home and warm and cozy. So today's Wisdom Wednesday video, this is obviously it's not Wednesday, but I am filming this for the winter solstice and the full moon. I wanted to talk about this idea of suffering not being our cross to bear. And this video I hope this might, what's that expression called? It might trigger or tug on some heartstrings a little bit, but it's something that I've again observed and I wanted to talk about, and it's coming up for me. So I just want to again come from my journey and speak from my place, and hopefully in speaking about my journey and where I've come from, I can maybe provide some perspective and some insight and some wisdom about this idea of suffering not being a cross to bear. So, suffering was my cross to bear, and still sometimes is, but a lot less so. And I'm going to talk from the point of view of health, physical health. It's the best example I can draw upon. So, I'm going to say we're 2018. I'm going to say at least 8 years ago, and before that, every year, at least 3 times a year, I would get bronchitis. I would get really sick. Almost every month, for the last 4 years, I would get really, really bad menstrual cramps, and I never really figured out why. It could have been endometriosis, although it's disappearing now, so maybe I just healed it on my own. I never really got scans or figured out why. But those were 2 physical examples of where I kind of entered a little bit into victim mode. Mind you, with my endo or whatever that was I was experiencing, I was really trying hard. But there was probably a part of me that was just saying, this is just what I have to experience every month. I'll go back to the bronchitis because that's really a good example, because I was a really different person then. I didn't believe in any kind of homeopathic medicine. It just didn't believe it worked. I took vitamins and stuff and natural stuff as a kid, but didn't know enough about it, didn't believe it worked, and I was very hooked on the idea of taking Western medicine, but also antibiotics for everything. So when I would get bronchitis, I would just go straight to the doctor. I would assume I was going to get it. I would be in this mental headspace of okay, it's just the winter. This is my cross to bear. I'm just gonna get sick every year, and I'm gonna have to take some pills, and I'm gonna have to, get rid of it that way, and it's just what I have to deal with. And I eventually got pneumonia when I was living in Ecuador as well, and I just had lungs that were really, really messed up. And finally, of course, I met, and I've mentioned her in another video, I met Jeanette Wayne. And again, shout out to her because she really helped to change my perspective. It was also my journey, though, just to go on, because someone can tell you all kinds of things and give you all kinds of health advice or wisdom, but if you're not going to take it, and if you're not ready to take it, what's the point? You just have to be, you're ready when you're ready when you're ready. I really, really believe that. There's no forcing things to happen when we think they should happen. There is no should, there's just, it's going to happen when it's destined to. That being said, I learned a lot from this idea that I should suffer and it's just this thing I have to live with. What ended up happening is it was right after my dad passed away around 7 years ago. I was sick again, and it was like October, and we were starting to go into cold season. And I just, was sort of on the verge. I was in this place where I was like kind of ready to let go of Western medicine and move into something more natural, but I wasn't quite ready to let go of my old patterns yet. I said, no, 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 no. I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to get my antibiotics. When I was sitting in the doctor's office and waiting to see my doctor, I knew I didn't need to be there. I knew I was literally only there to help my psyche because my psyche felt like more comfortable being in a Western medicine doctor's office. But I knew they were just going to say the same thing. They were going to just check my lungs and throw some antibiotics in me, or maybe not even give me anything and just say you need to go rest. And I think it was that. I don't remember whether I got the antibiotics or not, but I remember feeling like a part of my psyche was comforted, but when I left the office, I felt like, oh, they didn't really do enough for me. They didn't do anything, really. And that's what I gave up a lot on Western medicine. Now, I'm not entirely against Western medicine. I believe we need hospitals, we need x-rays, there's certain things we do need. We need surgery for things. But when it comes to preventative medicine, I really, really believe in the power of Chinese medicine, alternative homeopathic medicine, any kind of alternative practice. Like I'm a living example of how this has worked and how it's changed not only my physical health, but also the way I live in this world, in my spirit and my mental state. And so what I ended up having to do is I said, okay, you know what, I'm going to try this whole alternative health thing for my lungs. I really don't believe it's going to work because I've lived with shitty lungs my whole life. And the only thing that's really gotten rid of it and just wiped it out is antibiotics. And that's the only paradigm I was working with. You get sick, you wipe it out. You get sick again, you wipe it out. It's just going to keep coming back, but you just want to get rid of it. And preventative medicine just blew open my mind. And also, it's not even preventative. The stuff I was taking actually did wipe it out. But I discovered I had to take a lot of homeopathics. I mean, I'm talking like $60 to $100 just for one incidence of bronchitis. I took a lot of stuff. If anyone wants to know what I took, you can message me and I will give you the list of stuff, and it worked really well. And it was a mind-blowing experience because I got to see how plants actually heal our body. And I got to see how, again, when you become your own inner authority, Jeanette said, this and this and this is what you need to take. And so I got sick again about a few months later in December when we get our second wave of viruses. And I took that same combination of things again, and it got rid of it. And I thought, oh my God, this is it. I may need to take a lot, but I feel way better with this idea of not putting pharmaceuticals in my body. I never liked the idea of that, but I never knew of anything else. And I think this is what it comes down to. We believe that suffering is our cross to bear because we don't know that there's another option out there. And I am here to say that there are other options. There are some incredible healers out there, and I just really believe in the work Jeanette's doing, because obviously she's not for everyone, but I've really seen her work with a lot of people who have some really freaking weird things happening to their body that is very mysterious, and she's able to help them heal it. And she heals it, but she also helps them do it for themselves. And in turn, we don't have to live in a victim mind state anymore. And some of us don't even know we're doing it. And I was definitely doing it. I was just like, this is my thing. I have to live with this. No, you don't need to live with suffering. And even in regards to a victim mentality, right now I'm dealing with a lot of grief after my mom died. And for sure, I have, in the last 5 months since she's died, I've really jumped on that bandwagon of why me? Why now? Why did she have to go now? I don't deserve this. I don't deserve this right now. Shitty luck, you know? But there is a subtle voice inside of me that says, does that really feel good? Does that feel good to be in this place? I think that it's a fine line, especially with grief and deep loss and traumatic loss, that part of us does need to go into that place for a little bit and allow yourself to go there. But let's try not to stay there, because there is a more empowered place to be. And I think we all hear the whispers. It's just whether we actually all choose to go there and to step up and say, yeah, I want to feel empowered. So with my grief, for example, I've now started to give in to those other voices that are saying, what's another way to be? How can we see the lessons in the death and in the trauma, and not just the why me? And so I just thought I would put that out there for anyone who's really feeling like they're a victim of something, or that their illness defines them. Or I've been really sick for a long time before I jumped into the whole alternative health and seeing life from a different perspective. It's not just like the things we put in our body, but how we view the world. And there's always another path. There's always a more beautiful path than suffering and constant illness. And, I've dealt with depression myself, where I can't get out of bed. And it's really, really rough. And I do feel for everyone out there who has to go through that. But, I want you to know that you don't have to have this burden on your back. And this has been a little lesson that's been coming up in a lot of different areas of my life. With my friend Jeanette, in conversation with her, but also, my yoga teacher training, we talked about this a lot too, about women who, they do jumping jacks and then they pee a little bit. And they say, well, that's just my cross to bear. That's just what I live with. No, go to a pelvic floor specialist and find out what's up, and you can heal. We all have the potential to heal, and we don't need to live with suffering. And I just hope that message reaches everyone today. Pretty poignant for the holiday season, when we're facing our shadows, we're facing a darker season, we're facing, maybe we're living with an illness right now, and we think that that's just it, that's the end of the road. And I want you to know it's not. And I may not have all the answers for you, but everything is temporary, and you can live an empowered, happy, light-filled life full of joy that is positive, that is not full of suffering day in and day out, and you don't need to live with that. So, it's a pretty simple message today. If you have any questions, let me know, or any comments, I'd love to know. I love having discussions about this kind of stuff. And I wish you all a very happy, restful solstice and holiday season, whatever you celebrate. I hope it's very rejuvenating for everyone with their families, or wherever you are, even if you're party one this holiday season. I'm wishing you many, many blessings.